Have you ever wondered how a single act of kindness can change a child's entire life? Meet Viet Anh, an 8-year-old boy living in a fragile home by the river, struggling through harsh rains, hunger, and endless responsibilities. Diem and Toan, his caring neighbors, cannot bear to watch his suffering any longer. They decide to step in, offering love, guidance, and financial support, becoming his godparents. Witness how their heartfelt gestures transformed Viet Ang's world, giving him hope, safety, and joy. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to follow this touching story of compassion, family, and new beginnings. In a quiet rural village nestled between winding rice fields and the soft murmur of a river, lived a small family in a run-down bamboo house leaning tiredly against the earth. It was the home of little Viet Anh, an 8-year-old boy whose eyes held more maturity than joy, and whose childhood had been traded early for responsibility. His family was known by everyone in the area, not because they were wealthy or prominent, but because life had burdened them far more than it should. Viet Ang's parents worked tirelessly as hired laborers, taking whatever jobs they could find, planting rice in the scorching sun, hauling bricks at construction sites, or mending fishing nets for a few coins. Yet, even with all their effort, some days they could only afford a simple meal of rice and boiled vegetables. The sound of hunger was not uncommon in their small home, especially during the slow seasons when work dried up like the river in the heat of summer. The house itself barely qualified as shelter. Built from old planks, patched leaves, and pieces of rusted tin, it stood like a quiet testament to the years of storms it had endured. Every rainy season was a test of endurance. The roof, full of holes, could not hold back the downpour. Rainwater dripped straight onto the floor, forming puddles around the few precious belongings the family had. An old electric fan that rattled loudly, a wooden cupboard swollen and warped by moisture, and a single, thin mattress the children shared. When the storm winds blew, the walls creaked like they were whispering their last breaths. During nights like that, Viet Anh would wrap his thin arms around his little sister, trying to comfort her as thunder shook the land, pretending he was brave even though he was afraid too. Despite the hardships, Viet Anh was a good boy, polite, hardworking, and surprisingly optimistic for someone so young. He loved school and wished more than anything to stay in class every day. He sat in the last row with a faded backpack and a pencil worn short from use. When the teacher praised him, his face would light up like dawn breaking through the clouds. But school was a luxury not always permitted by his circumstances. There were many days when he would quietly stay home, not because he wanted to, but because his parents needed him. While other children played or learned multiplication tables, Viet Anh would be fetching water, chopping firewood, helping cook meals, or watching over his baby sister so his parents could go out early to work. Diem and Toan, a married couple living nearby, often saw the boy running barefoot across the dirt road or carrying vegetables in a basket far too big for his small hands. They had known his situation for years and always felt sympathy. But it wasn't until the rainy season that true worry settled deeply in their hearts. Every time storms rolled in and raindrops hammered the roofs, they couldn't help but think of the small boy in that fragile house facing the rain, with nothing to protect him except determination and the thin sheet of patched plastic. The next morning, Diem could not shake the image of Viet Anh, sitting under the leaking roof, clutching his wet book as raindrops fell around him. She remembered the small, resilient hands trying to turn pages despite the water, and a pang of helplessness tightened in her chest. That night, she could hardly sleep, her thoughts endlessly circling the boy's struggle. Toan, noticing her restlessness, held her hand gently and asked what was wrong. Diem told him everything: the dripping roof, the empty stomachs, the little boy who carried the weight of a family on his small shoulders. Toan listened quietly, his brow furrowed, and then he spoke in a calm but firm voice. "We cannot just watch anymore. We have the means to help him, to give him a chance at a better life. It's time we do something meaningful." Diem's eyes filled with tears, not of sadness, but of relief and hope. She realized that together they could make a difference, and for the first time, the worry that had weighed so heavily on her heart felt lighter. The next days were filled with quiet planning and secret gestures of care. Diem would bring small gifts of rice, clothes, and stationery, leaving them on the doorstep with a gentle knock, only to watch Viet Ang's eyes widen in shy surprise. Toan, practical and steady, took on the task of checking the family's home, repairing the broken roof and patching the walls with whatever materials he could find. Each nail hammered into the walls, each patch laid carefully over the holes, felt like a promise. They were not just fixing a house, they were protecting a child's dreams. As Diem saw Viet Anh laugh while playing in a safe corner for the first time, her heart swelled with joy. Every moment of happiness on the boy's face was a reward beyond measure. She realized that small acts of kindness could ripple outward, touching not just one life, but entire futures. One evening, after another long day of helping, Diem and Toan sat together on the porch of their own home, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. They spoke quietly of the boy's potential, of the bright mind and tender heart that deserved opportunity and care. "We can't change the past, but we can help shape his future," Toan said softly. Diem nodded, feeling a deep sense of purpose that warmed her more than any fire could. The decision crystallized then, simple but profound. Viet Anh would become more than just a neighbor to them. They would be their godchild, a child they would guide, protect, and nurture as their own. They promised each other that they would provide support, not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, and in every possible way. They would ensure that Viet Anh never felt alone in the world, and that the heavy burdens he bore as a boy would one day transform into opportunities for learning, growth, and happiness. That night, as they looked toward the quiet village, Diem and Toan felt a sense of fulfillment that only comes when hearts unite to bring hope, love, and security into the life of a child who so deeply needed it. The very next afternoon, Diem and Toan walked hand in hand toward Viet Ang's small house, the warm sunlight casting a gentle glow over the dusty path. Viet Anh, returning from school, looked up curiously as they approached, his small backpack bouncing against his back. His eyes, always so observant, widened slightly at the sight of the couple standing at the doorway with gentle smiles and a basket of gifts. Diem knelt to meet him at eye level, her voice soft yet firm as she spoke. "Viet Anh, we have something very important to tell you." The boy blinked, unsure what to expect, but a strange flutter of hope stirred in his chest. Toan, standing beside her, nodded reassuringly and added, "We want to be here for you, to help you grow and learn, and to make sure you never feel alone again." Viet Ang's lips parted slightly in surprise, and for a moment silence hung between them, silent yet full of meaning. The couple's sincerity, the warmth in their eyes, and the unspoken promise of care reached deep into his heart. Diem then explained how they wished to officially become his godparents, a family who would guide him, support him in school, and provide for his needs. She spoke of the books they would buy, the clothes they would bring, and the lessons they would help him learn, not just in school, but in life. Toan spoke of fixing the house further, ensuring he would always have a safe place to sleep and grow, free from fear of rain or cold. As they spoke, Viet Ong's small hands trembled slightly, and tears gathered in his eyes. The weight of years spent worrying and helping his struggling family seemed to lift just a little, replaced by a newfound sense of security and love. His parents, standing quietly behind him, could barely hold back their own tears, touched beyond words by the couple's generosity and the genuine affection they showed for their son. Over the next few weeks, the transformation began gently but surely. Viet Ong's days became brighter, filled with small joys that had once seemed impossible. Diem and Toan would bring books and school supplies, guiding him through his lessons with patience and encouragement. They celebrated every achievement, no matter how small, the completion of a homework assignment, a drawing done with care, or a simple smile that once had been rare. Toan helped repair and reinforce the house further, turning it into a safe haven, a place where Viet Anh could dream without fear. Even the little things, the laughter shared over a simple meal, the warmth of a blanket on a chilly evening, or the feeling of a hand on his shoulder, carried a profound message. He was not alone, and he was loved. One evening, as Viet Anh lay in bed, staring at the ceiling above his new mattress, he felt a deep sense of gratitude he could hardly put into words. He knew that his life, once burdened with struggle and hardship, had begun to change. He felt hope for the first time in years, a hope that was steady, nurturing, and alive, fueled by the unwavering love of Diem and Toan. And in that hope, he promised himself that he would do his best to honor their faith in him, to grow, to learn, and to carry forward the love that had so unexpectedly transformed his world. That night, the small house by the river seemed brighter, warmer, and full of the kind of happiness that comes not from riches, but from love, care, and the promise of a better tomorrow.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh Lý Tu Diem Review. Vậy là trong câu chuyện của chúng ta ngày hôm nay thì Diễm và Toàn đã đi đến một quyết định rất là nhân văn, đó chính là việc nhận bé Viet Anh có hoàn cảnh rất là khó khăn ở gần nhà Diễm làm con đỡ đầu. Ờ, Mọi câu chuyện hấp dẫn về Diễm, Toàn cũng như cuộc sống của họ sẽ còn được kể các video tiếp theo. Các bạn hãy bấm vào nút subscribe để đăng ký kênh, sẽ nhận được thông báo mới nhất về các tập phim sẽ được phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh nha. Cảm ơn các bạn rất nhiều vì đã luôn theo dõi ủng hộ kênh của mình. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.